Hi everybody. This video is to explain the historical book report project to you and to show you some examples so that you will understand exactly what to do. So first of all, I'm going to go to the actual book report paper that is attached to this lesson in LMS. So you have four options, okay? Option number one is to make a video, which I'm doing right now. When you make a video, this is what should be on the video. First of all, you should have the book you read and you should introduce it. Now, I'm going to use Freedom Train since we all read it. So you would hold your book up and say, the book I read was Freedom Train by Dorothy Sterling. The next thing in your video is the historical time period of the book. You're going to tell in your own words the time period in history when your book happened. And you're going to also hold up an object or a picture from the internet or something that will go along with what you are saying. So, since our book is about slavery, you would want to hold up a picture that has to do with slavery in the South. And as you hold up that picture, you will explain the historical period of your book and then tell how this time period affected your character. Of course, in Harriet Tubman, it affects her because she's born a slave. She has to escape slavery. She has to go back and free other slaves. She fights in the Civil War to end slavery. So the time period, it affects her entire life. It's how she lives her life is because of the time that she was born. So you're going to explain that in your video. And the next thing in your video is going to be 3 main events in the life of your main character. Now, I want to say right at the beginning that you can do more than 3 main events. You can do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, however many you want. The minimum that I will grade you on is 3, but please feel free to include as many events as you want in your video. So you're going to talk about the main events and then you're going to have pictures or props to go with it. So for example, one of the main events for Harriet Tubman would be when she was a child and she stole the sugar cube and Miss Sarah went to beat her, so she had to go and hide in a pig pen. So my illustration that I would hold up in my video is a pig pen to give you an idea of how would you like to hide in a pig pen for like 48 hours because someone was trying to beat you. So this would be an example of talking about an event in her life and showing a picture. Okay. Another event in Harriet's life was when she went back to Maryland and freed her parents. This is a picture of her bringing her parents to freedom. Remember that broken down wagon they put together from junk parts? Well, here she is with her parents driving as fast as possible to get over the line and to rescue her parents. So that was another event in Harriet Tubman's life. And I'm holding up a picture that illustrates that as I explain the event. Now, after you've done the events, number 4 is one thing you learned from this book. Now, for Harriet Tubman, one thing we can learn is to treat others the way you want to be treated and to take risks for other people because you love them. And then the last thing is the recommendation. Did you like it or not, and why? So you can either tell your video viewers why you like the book or why you didn't like the book. And for the video, you can do a thumbs up. I loved Freedom Train. I loved learning all about Harriet Tubman. I learned so many historical facts about her and about this time period I didn't know before. And she was an inspiration to me, and she still inspires me to this day. So I have my thumb up because I like this book. Now, if you read your book and you didn't like it, you can give me a thumbs down and tell me why you do not recommend the book. And like I've told all my students for years and years and years, it is okay if you didn't like your book. You can tell me that you didn't like your book, but you have to give me a good reason. You cannot say, I didn't like my book because it was dumb, or I didn't like my book because it was too long, it had too many words. You have to give me a good reason you didn't like it, like the main character didn't make good choices, or I didn't like how people were treated in this book, and it was upsetting. So as long as you give me a good reason you didn't like the book, that's fine not to recommend it. I don't recommend every book I read either. So that is option one, making a video. Now, only choose this option if you know how to make a video. I don't want you to stress your parents out and make them figure it all out and spend hours and hours on this. This is not meant to take you hours and hours. This is supposed to be a fun way to present your book that won't take too long. Now, before you make your video, make sure you have like a little script so you know what you're going to say before you start talking. All right, the second option is to make a PowerPoint. I know that in Mrs. Matthews' class, you were working on PowerPoint, and many of you told me that you do know how to make a PowerPoint. So if you know how to make a PowerPoint, this is a great option for your book report. I made a sample PowerPoint book report of Freedom Train to show you exactly what it should look like. So, and I'm going to attach it to the lesson. That way you'll have a guide for what I would like you to do. So I'm going to take you to that right now and just show you exactly what it is that I want you to do. So first, you present your book with the author, and you will see that my title of my book is italicized. Remember, the title of the book is always italicized or underlined. That is correct punctuation. And you see that I have a picture of the book. It is very super easy to find pictures on the internet. If you type in Freedom Train by Dorothy Sterling into the browser, and then you click on images, I got like 50 pictures of the book really fast. Okay, and then you are to tell me about the historical time period. So I gave a description of the Civil War, and then I just have some pictures, young Harriet when she was still a slave, and some pictures of what it might have looked like on a plantation. And I gave a description of the historical time period, and I told why it was important to my character. Freedom Train takes place before, during, and after the Civil War in the United States. This time period is important in my book because the main character, Harriet Tubman, was born and grew up in slavery, escaped slavery, and brought many others to freedom, fought in the Civil War for the Union, and to continue to help former slaves for the rest of her life. So the whole historical time period of Freedom Train, it affects her entire life. That is, her whole life is lived the way it is because of when she was born. Then you have the three main events that you choose. And then at the top, you describe the event. This is Harriet's childhood. You can see I described when she took the sugar cube and had to hide in the pig pen. I have the whip and I have some pigs here. The next event I said was Harriet's injury, where I describe how she was hit in the head with a 2-pound weight. And here are weights to give you an idea of what that thing looked like when it hit her in the head. And I have Harriet's parents, describing how she freed them. There's a picture, how she was wanted dead or alive, but she still risked her life. Now, I put 4 events on my PowerPoint because I couldn't help myself, because there's just too many things about Harriet Tubman. Couldn't limit myself to 3, but you only have to do 3. So I have Harriet's military service, and I think this is from the Harriet movie, but it's a cool picture. I didn't know before I read this book that Harriet Tubman actually fought in the Union Army. I thought that was amazing. I knew that she had helped slaves escape from freedom, but I never knew she was a soldier, which is so cool. And she was a spy, which meant if she was captured, she was killed. So she risks her life over and over and over again for her people. After you're done your 3 main events, you go to what I learned. And you're going to type in the main message that you learned from your book. Of course, in Harriet Tubman, the message is the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And even risk your life, risk things for other people. And I even included in here, I see all the healthcare workers during this pandemic as examples of caring for others, even when there is a great risk. I feel like that book, Harriet Tubman, teaches you, even if there's risk to yourself, if you can help another person, you should. And I think right now in our culture, there are many people risking their lives every day just because it's the right thing to do and they're helping save other lives. And the last thing is a recommendation. So, of course, for this book, I highly recommend this book. I love this book. And so for your recommendation, if you love it, put a thumbs up picture. If you didn't like it, put a thumbs down picture. And just remember, for the recommendation, you've got to give me a good reason why. If you didn't like it, it's got to be a good reason. It can't just be it was boring, too long. Okay, give me a good reason with substance why you didn't like it. All right, the third option for your book report is, if you don't know how to make a PowerPoint, you don't want to make a video, you can just make a Word document. Use Microsoft Word and type your book report as a Word document and include pictures. So I also have an example of this. I'm trying to make this easy for you. So your name goes at the top, and then you tell me the book you read. And notice that Freedom Train is in italics because it is the name, it's the title of a book, okay? So then I just broke it down. There's the name of the book and the author, and there's a picture of the book and Harriet. Then the historical time period. It's exactly what was in the PowerPoint. It's just in a Word document now, and the pictures. And then the three main events, I make a heading, and then I put each event: Harriet's childhood, Harriet's injury, Harriet's parents. And then there's a section for what I learned, and there's a section for the recommendation. So basically, instead of making a PowerPoint, you're just creating a Word document where you put the pictures right in, okay? And if you don't know, a very easy way to find the pictures is to go to the top, hit Insert, go to Pictures, and click Online Pictures. When you get here, you just type in what you want to find. So I'm going to type in Freedom Train by Dorothy Sterling, just to show you what comes up really fast, okay? So if you see, as soon as you type in Freedom Train by Dorothy Sterling, there are a bunch of these. You click one, and if you hit Insert, it'll go right into your document. Just make sure your cursor is where you want the picture to go. Super easy. The last option is our old-fashioned option, but it is okay to choose this option if you like. It's fine. This is a handwritten report with labeled pictures attached. So you're going to write out your report in your own handwriting. It can be print or cursive, and then print out some pictures that go with the report and put them at the back of your report. So paragraph 1, the title and the author of your book, and a picture of your book or your main character. Paragraph 2 is the historical time period of the book. Tell the time in history and why it was important to your character, just like we did in the other documents. Paragraph 3 is the three main events in order, and include pictures that are labeled. So when you show me the pictures, then you have a label like Harriet's childhood, Harriet's injury. Just make sure you tell me what your pictures are. Don't just include random pictures. And also, I said, remember, you can do more than 3. You don't have to limit yourself to 3. If there's a lot of exciting events you want to share with me, fantastic. No limits, just limits. Starts at 3, but you can go as high as you want. And then paragraph 4, you're going to put one thing you learned from the book and your recommendation, whether or not you would recommend it and why or why not. So that is the written option. So when you watch this video, you will be able to choose which option you want. Make a video, make a PowerPoint, make a Word document, or your traditional handwritten report with some pictures attached. So this report will be due Friday, May 15th. So you will have 2 weeks to complete this book report. This is the end of our video. And if you have any other questions, of course, you can ask me on our next Zoom meeting. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. I'll see you later.